Hey everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Disney Infinity Shutdown, the Black Panther video comic series, and how you, our listeners, bring Disney into your everyday life. All this and more in this episode of Diz Pop. Diz Pop is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect vacation. Visit them on the web at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I am your host, Rhino Clavin, and joined by the Jimmy Olsen. To my Superman, we have Oliver Queen. Green. I'm going to keep calling you Oliver.
I know. It's
Oliver Queen now.
I've got two nicknames now.
Yeah. Well, which is fine. I mean, Oliver Queen, it's the Green Arrow, so... You know, that's why I'm calling you that, right?
That's why you're calling me that. Okay. That makes less sense now.
Yeah, so... Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Here is we're at Diz Pop, where we talk about all things pop culture: Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, some Universal stuff I've got thrown in the mix today. I don't want them to feel left out.
And whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, it's pretty much
everything else.
Whatever I deem appropriate. That power has been given to me, and so you're welcome. No, but seriously. So thank you everybody for tuning in again. If this isn't again, or if this is your first time, welcome. I guess we'll just jump into it. Unless you have some sort of the other shows have a housekeeping section, but I don't know. I don't really have anything.
I feel like the shows, because we cover such a vast amount of topics, it's probably too vast for housekeeping, because the whole show is kind of like housekeeping with our opinions in it, if that makes sense. So.
Well, and I try to like keep up with people on Twitter and respond to them immediately, and so it's kind of like, you know, I will always address you if you want to, which, by the way, Diz Pop now has a Twitter. If you want to follow us, it's Diz Pop Show. Diz Pop was apparently already taken. I think it had something to do with some golf product. I don't know.
Stop pushing it. Stop giving them...
yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Free advertising. Shucks. Well, I guess we'll jump right into it, and we're going to talk about the box office over this last weekend. So Disney has just reached the $1 billion mark this year in record time.
How quick, Rhino?
Isn't that crazy?
How quick?
It was. It's 4 months into 2016 right now, or I guess it's actually 5 months because I can count, right? May. We're in the month of May.
We are in the month of May.
You didn't say the date today either. I didn't start off saying the date. It's Friday the 13th. So this episode, who knows what's going to happen? I wore it's my Powerline t-shirt, but...
Are you going to do it?
I was going to say Black Cat, but Goofy's a dog, so it didn't really happen.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, so Disney has exceeded $1 billion in the domestic ticket sale. It took 128 days to get there. They've had some hits on their hands. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Zootopia.
No, what's Zootopia? Yeah. I've not heard of it. I'm joking. I'm kidding.
No. Yeah. There was Star Wars carried over into this year because it obviously was released just before Christmas, and Civil War's come out. They had the Jungle Book, so they're having a pretty stellar year right now at the box office. But it was 128 days it took them to get here. The previous record was held by Universal Studios, which they set that last year, and they reached that mark within 168 days. So Disney beat this one by 40 days, which is pretty crazy. Universal had the help of Jurassic World, Fast and the Furious 7, and Minions last year. So we'll kind of see, but Disney seems to be the powerhouse right now because we got Alice in Wonderland opening in 2 weeks, and then just a couple more 2 or 3 weeks after that, we have the Finding Dory, and then...
That's going to be huge.
Yeah, Pete's Dragon. There's another Marvel movie later this year. I would be surprised if this year actually doesn't end up being one of their best at the box office, because they've got another Star Wars coming out at the end of the year, so it's looking pretty good, despite that earnings call where apparently they're saying they're not hitting the revenue as much. Oh my gosh. And please remind me, because I forgot to put it in my notes to talk about it on the show, but last night there was some very interesting developments with ABC. So we're going to talk about TV a little bit, because we haven't really touched into that topic, but Disney is pulling in the purse strings everywhere they can right now to make up for their Shanghai disaster, whatever we want to talk about.
Disaster? Is it a disaster?
Well, just being over budget. I'll say the budgetary disaster. I won't say disaster. That park's beautiful, and if you guys haven't been able to like check out the videos that have been coming up online, the Tron light cycle point of view video looked pretty crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, Pirates looks amazing there.
I know this is really small-minded, but when I watch those videos, like oh no, this sounds awful. Like I watch them because they're in like Mandarin, I'm assuming, like the language. I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out on so much. Like when the pirates are speaking in Mandarin, and
I don't mind that it's in the native language.
Yeah.
My issue is that like the Jack Sparrow, it's like who's ever doing the voice didn't even try. They were like, just get a guy in here. So he doesn't even try and do like the Jack Sparrow type of voice. So that's a little weird for me. But before I stray too far, I have one more box office thing. I just want to talk about how Civil War is doing at the box office because we talked about it last week. And if you missed it, you can check out our review or the review I did with Craig Williams. That's an audio exclusive show, only available on iTunes. And I have had a couple of requests for people for asking to put it on YouTube. Right now, I'm trying to do a thing where I spread out the content a little bit. I know it's a little crazy. New show. What are you doing? You're putting everything everywhere. But I've made some exclusive YouTube videos, like the arts and crafts and videos are actually a part of this show. That's where I was like testing the idea for a segment. But those are exclusive for YouTube. I don't put those on audio or anything like that. But I'm also going to kind of try and do the same thing with the movie reviews, just because they're a little more in depth. So I feel like it's like this show's already a niche audience, so I'm just diving into the more and more and more. So, trying to isolate everyone into their favorite things. So I apologize about that. Well, we'll see. I'm always open to suggestions. If you guys want to see some stuff, if you want to hear some stuff, let me know. Again, on the Twitter or send an email to the Diz Unplugged podcast email, podcast@disunplugged.com. I cannot say internet URLs, I've decided.
Earls. Like Earl of Sandwich.
Earls.
URLs. URL of Sandwich. Yeah, but no, I was about to say, we'll pretty much talk about anything or do anything apart from that one comment that asked us...
to do the calendar? Is that what you're talking about?
No, that was what we responded with.
The topless show, yeah.
It sounded like a good idea, but I don't think Pete would approve it somehow.
We'll see. If we can get ourselves into a summer body situation...
So what you're saying is we're never going to do this show.
Yeah.
Because I'm making no promises.
After we're done recording this, we're going to go we're going to shoot some food segments. So
we actually are.
Stuff our fat faces again. So I can't guarantee that's going to happen anytime soon, but who knows? Maybe for a pretty hefty charity donation.
We will do a calendar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually think the calendar is a great idea.
What are they? The Rhinoli? We'll do a Rhinoli calendar.
Rinoli. Yeah, the ciabatta bun roll.
Are we going to share the? Oh no, it's not. I was going to say the center spread, but it's a calendar. Ignore me. I'm going to be quiet now.
I've got some ideas. I mean, it could be us and like our favorite, like reenacting scenes from our favorite movies or something like that. I've got some ideas going.
Like we can cover up.
Oh my gosh, that would be a great segment. We might have to do that. Anyway, see, this show could go anywhere, as you can see. Again, this conversation probably would have been best left for the housekeeping side of things, but I have a little bit of OCD, so if I don't say the idea when it comes out, I'll lose it forever. Yeah. So, but anyway, like I said before, those of you who've been waiting 10 minutes now to hear how Civil War is doing at the box office. So it opened last weekend, and apparently, this is a little crazy. It actually came in a little bit below estimates, which is insane because it was actually the 5th highest opening of a movie of all time. So it's kind of like, it's amazing. And it's got a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes with a 92% audience satisfaction. So you're kind of like, well, is it that bad? Like, who cares? Like, you've made a thing that's like great. So, but just to put that, I want to say, the worldwide gross of the movie thus far is already at $765.9 million. Only. Isn't that crazy? Put that in perspective. Deadpool, which also opened very well, did very well for itself, the highest grossing rated R movie ever. Deadpool's total worldwide haul ended with $762.1 million. That's the whole haul. Now, Civil War has been open for more than just a week in international territories, but still, it's an impressive number. And just so you know, Zootopia is also currently the highest grossing film of 2016, and that's somewhere around $950 million right in there. I don't think it's going to hit the $1 billion mark. It deserves to, but
crazy. That is big numbers.
Did you see Zootopia?
I loved Zootopia.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Really good film. I can't remember if I went more than once. How many times did you go?
I saw it twice, and lately I haven't enjoyed animated films as much as I've been wanting to. The last slew of Disney movies in particular. And so I didn't know what to expect from this, and I loved it. I saw it twice within 3 days actually, because I couldn't believe I enjoyed it. So it's coming out on Blu-ray June 7th. So I'm definitely getting that, and maybe we'll do a little Blu-ray review of it, see what kind of special features are on there.
That'd be good.
That'll be fun. But yeah, so that's pretty crazy. With Civil War doing as well as it did. Oh, and on a Marvel in the movie theater note, if you didn't hear, the Russo brothers, who directed Winter Soldier and Civil War, and they're directing the Infinity War Part 1 and 2, are actually dropping the Part 1 and Part 2 from the title of Infinity War. They're saying it's no longer they don't want people to think about it as a Part 1 and a Part 2, because they're saying it's very distinctly two separate films. They're just shooting them back to back, and they just kind of deal with that crisis. So, but yeah, they're changing the names, but they haven't come up with the title yet. So they can't announce it and say Infinity War, not the Affinity War. We just love it.
Was it going to be two films initially then?
It's always been meant to be two films. Yeah,
and now they've put it down to one, right?
No. There's still going to be two films. They just dropped Part 1 and Part 2.
Okay.
So it's going to be the Avengers Infinity War, whatever, and then Avengers the Infinity War, whatever.
Okay.
The first film's coming out May 2018, and then the follow-up's going to be May 2019. So they're still going to film them back to back, and they're still going to come out in that same release date schedule. So that's good. That's fine with me. Now, in a non-Marvel related area, see, I'm going to make an apology. I feel like this show has been very Marvel heavy, but it's just because Civil War was coming out. There's just been this slew of Marvel related stuff. So I will touch into the other things as well, and I'm going to do it right now because Disney released the trailer for another film that's coming out in September. Queen of Katwe. Katwe. Starring David Aiello and the very busy Lupita Nyong'o. And this film is going to tell the true story of, excuse me if I murder this name, but Fiona Mutesi, a chess prodigy from Uganda. The film was actually shot in Uganda and South Africa and was directed by Mira Nair. And it's based on the book of the same name by Tim Crothers. But I am a fan of I like a good true story, underdog story, and I love Lupita Nyong'o. I'm actually disappointed. I thought for some reason when I was hearing about this movie, I'd heard about it at D23 last year. I thought Lupita was going to be the main character, but she has taken on the motherly roles lately. Like in Maz, she is 1,000-year-old. In Star Wars, she plays Maz, who's 1,000 years old. She played the mother wolf in The Jungle Book.
And how old is the actress?
I don't know. That's
Is she not of mother age?
I don't know. I think about her as being super young ever since 12 Years a Slave. I mean, she's phenomenal in that, but she's very young in that. And I am going to tell you right now that Lupita
is
Nyong'o. No, Nyong'o? I always feel like I'm saying her name wrong.
If you say it with an accent,
I love
it's
her
much
name,
more
though.
forgiving.
I love saying her name.
Just say it with a South African accent. No? Okay.
I don't know. Can you do a South African accent?
I can say some words in South African.
Huh?
Yeah, what's that? Lupita Nyong'o, yeah? Actually, no, I'm not going to.
Lupita.
I'm not even going to attempt it because I'm sure someone somewhere will find it offensive, so I'm not going to try.
Wow, she is. I'm sorry it just took me so long to find her name, but she is listed really far down in the cast list for 12 Years a Slave, which is weird. But Lupita Nyong'o, according to Internet Movie Database, is, well, I guess she's motherly age. She's 33. She was born in 1983.
Is it? And again,
she just looks so young. She's so pretty.
Yeah. She's just an assumption, but maybe you get mothers that age in America and the rest of the world. I was going to say maybe, I was going to say maybe it's like a thing, like in South Africa, they just have younger mothers. She could be a grandmother.
Yeah. But she's great. I'll definitely be checking that movie out for sure. Plus David Aiello. I'm slaughtering everybody's name. I'm just not good with names, words, general things, sentences, all that jazz. But if you haven't checked out that trailer, you definitely should. It looks really good.
See, I think the trailer does make it look good, but when you just strip everything away and you look at what the storyline is, it's just someone playing chess and it doesn't excite me.
I know.
So-
It's going to be, well, it's coming out in September, which is notorious for like kind of the dead zone for movies. So
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, I'm hoping it'll just be like a nice little a gem, like
Yeah.
a nice easy movie to go watch and enjoy and feel.
It's one of those that, like,
good.
after watching the trailer, it's just like, well, if I missed it, I wouldn't be that bothered.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna watch it, but
Well, I'm going to watch it. I'll probably do a review for the show, and that's probably
Yeah.
what's going to push me to see it in the movie theater. Otherwise, this would probably be like a DVD release for me, because it
Yeah.
does fall into that Disney sports category, surprisingly enough, even though it is chess. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know. I read this article that was about like chess movies and how the
Extreme chess.
Search for Bobby Fischer is still like the number one. Yeah, how they're never really about chess, but they are about chess. I don't know.
yeah.
But anyway, there's that. And then there's this other interesting film I've heard about recently. It's called Come Away. Now, for those of you who have seen Brave, have you seen Brave?
I have seen Brave. I've got Scottish heritage, so I feel I live Brave.
Excuse me. But, well, so it's actually one of the Pixar movies I haven't seen yet.
Brave?
I'm going to see it, yeah.
You've not seen? Oh, it's really good. Honestly, it's very,
Well,
very good.
I want to start doing so how we're doing the cinematic universe, like moving
Yeah.
forward with that. I'm going to start with Pixar movies and move backwards and start because I want to do like a not a re-review because I've never reviewed them for the show before, but like a revisit. And I'm going to start with like Inside Out and then move backwards.
Yeah.
And so Inside Out, Good Dinosaur, and I'll get to Brave pretty soon since it's one of the newer ones.
It's definitely worth a watch.
But so the director of Brave, Brenda Chapman, she's going to make her live action directorial debut on this film called Come Away, and it's a Peter Pan and an Alice in Wonderland prequel. It sounds interesting. So Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland, they're both in public domain right now, so people can do kind of whatever they want with those stories, and it costs nobody any money other than to make the movie. You don't have to pay any rights to anybody to make it. But it's serving as both a prequel for Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan, and it centers on the idea that Alice and Peter are siblings who have had to deal with their older brothers perishing in an accident and their parents' despair over the tragedy. So this all that leads to Alice journeying to Wonderland and Peter to Neverland. So it's kind of like they split. And it's actually, for me, I mean, I love a good retelling of stuff like that. I love when people get into source material and they kind of play around with it. But what I think is extra interesting is I feel like there's already a pretty strong connection between those two properties at Disney, because there's a lot of people did the same voices for both films. So like the voice of Alice is also the voice of Wendy, Catherine. People are going to be real angry at me. Catherine Baymount. I don't know.
Just say it with confidence. Nobody will question
Beaumont. Well, yeah, I've done that before when I talked about the lion from The Lion Guard, Kion, and I said Kion, and everyone was like, it's Kion. But the funny thing is they were all leaving the comments on YouTube, and I'm like, you're writing it out. I can't hear what you're writing. And that is the issue to begin with, because I wasn't sure what the lion's name was when I read it. So
if anyone, what you're trying to say is if anyone wants to correct you, spell it phonetically in the comments.
Yeah. But so Catherine Baymount was the voice of both Alice and Wendy. Bill Thompson was the voice of the White Rabbit and Mr. Smee. Heather Angel was Alice's sister and Mrs. Darling. Lucille Bliss was both the voice of the Sunflower in Alice and a mermaid in Peter Pan. So those are the ones I saw just by scrolling through really quickly. So it's kind of interesting. There was a lot of that Disney crossover. And Alice and Wendy are very big people in the Disney universe, so I feel like it's interesting that they're going to kind of capitalize on this idea of those two being connected, because it does kind of work. They're both kids that kind of ended up in a fantastical place, and now even then they're kind of like drawing on that connection. That's like, even if people aren't aware of it, I feel like it's in there subconsciously. Like, know that Wendy and Alice are the same person.
Yeah.
Mr. Rabbit. That was a terrible.
Because these are such like iconic they're not. That's just it. They're not Disney property, really. It's in the public domain,
but they feel like Disney property.
This is what I was going to say. Like, because they feel almost like Disney property. Do you feel like Disney almost feels like a responsibility to keep releasing these? Well, they've not kept releasing it, but
it's
to
not
stay
a Disney
on top
movie,
of
I don't
it.
think.
Oh, is it not?
No, I don't. But it has that. Yeah, I should have looked that up, but it just said it was a Brave director. I didn't see what studio's making it.
Oh, I just assumed
It was part of the live action thing, but I mean, I could check again, but then I'll be awkwardly
Yeah.
checking the internet again.
Someone will
I
let
don't
him
like
tell
the
us.
silence. But that's that. I mean, that sounds like an interesting movie. I hope that movie kind of moves forward and we get a good. Because I didn't see Pan yet, but I do like the Peter Pan storyline. I don't care for the Disney movie very much. I like the Universal version. It's my favorite version. I already talked about this on the show. Hook is my favorite version of Peter Pan, but I'd be interested to see how this comes to fruition. Now I've got some Universal related movie stuff too, which I thought was pretty cool. So Marvel started that whole shared universe thing.
Yeah.
And it's doing real well for them, and I love it. I love the idea that things affect other things, and it's just they create this world, and it's just kind of like we get to see all these different perspectives in it. Now, Universal, everyone's apparently trying to hop on this bandwagon, and Universal is doing it with their classic monster properties. So, like Wolfman, The Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, whatever. It was supposed to start with Dracula Untold. I didn't see this movie, but I did hear. I think there was a scene that led you to believe this. I don't know if the plan is still to include that movie in the cinematic universe because it didn't do as well as they hoped. However, the Mummy reboot is filming right now, starring Tom Cruise and oh my gosh, I forgot who the woman in it was. I feel really bad now.
Is it the lady from the first two or the
Rachel Weisz? No. Annabella Wallace is her name. I don't really know her from anything, but I'm going to check right now. I guess she was in... It says she was in X-Men First Class. She's in a show called Peaky Blinders, which a listener told me to watch because they said something about me. I think looking like somebody. Or my hair was matching somebody.
So how much of the original cast in the remake? Well, not the remake, the reboot. Or none? Because it's
none. This is irrelevant to the Brendan Fraser film. This is a new take on it, and it takes place in modern day.
As I was talking, I worked it out in my head. You wouldn't really have the same. Okay.
I'm
just gonna be quiet.
I believe it's actually a female mummy in the movie too.
Oh, how very forward thinking.
It's not Imhotep or whatever his name was, because Sofia Boutella is playing the mummy. She was the I don't know if you saw Kingsman.
I did see Kingsman.
She was the one with the knives for legs. She's gonna play the mummy. Yeah. So
see, because she does look a bit like the lady that was the female, the love interest of the bad guy in the first film.
A Knocks on a Moon.
A Knocks on a Moon.
Yeah, she does actually. That's interesting you say that. She's got that kind of Egyptian. Well, she is. I don't know where she's originally from. She might be.
I've got a feeling it's somewhere like South Africa. Just out of interest as well.
She's from Algeria.
She's
very pretty.
She isn't like the leg she has, like the blades with her legs. That's an actual like disability she has, isn't it? Like that wasn't for the film.
No.
Okay.
I thought that too. I thought I had originally heard that at some point, but I saw this. She was in a dancing movie, so I can't imagine that she actually. Yeah. So, but I want to say maybe there was a stunt double involved. Somebody involved did have like they actually did some practical stuff with it. So, but anyway, so what's interesting? The reason why I'm bringing this up, I know some people love or hate Tom Cruise. I don't care if he's. I almost said a very bad word. I don't care if he's ape poop crazy, but I love Tom Cruise. I love bread.
You really do a fantastic Oprah.
It's really one of my best, people like qualities. They say, man, you're a good Oprah.
You possess all the attributes she does.
The beard and everything.
Exactly.
But no, I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise. In years late, he has stuck to his action movies. And if I was 53 years old, I'd be doing as many action movies as I could before my body went. And if you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, see that. The last two Mission Impossible movies were great. And so he's working on the Mummy reboot. It's supposed to open June 9th, 2017. And now Universal has apparently made way for some other unnamed shared classic monster cinematic universe movie that's supposed to come out February 15th, 2019, so 2 years after. I'm sorry. There's already a film that's coming out February 15th, 2019, and now there's nope, I am saying it backwards. Okay. So The Mummy 2017. There's another unannounced film coming 2018, April 2018, and now there's been a third set February 15th, 2019. Now, apparently, they're saying one of the two, untitled, is likely to be The Invisible Man starring Johnny Depp. So they're getting some big names roped into these movies. And now I thought this rumor was interesting. Supposedly Angelina Jolie is being sought for the role of the Bride of Frankenstein, or at least she was back in December. So they're saying now that they've scheduled this movie, did they secretly get her in the role?
She would make a fantastic Bride of Frankenstein.
Can you imagine this like shared cinematic universe with like Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man? I mean, Tom Cruise is not the Mummy, but I mean maybe he in some way, I don't know. We haven't seen that movie yet. But then you've got Angelina Jolie as the Bride of Frankenstein. Like, it was crazy, you know.
She'd do such a good job.
So
with that.
here's what's happened though with the Mummy. Russell Crowe was being sought to play a character, and I believe it all went through now. As of when I wrote this, he'll be playing Dr. Jekyll in the Mummy. So the Mummy is going to have because they were describing it as a Dr. Jekyll like character.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be kind of like touching on that, like he's going to interact with Dr. Jekyll, and then there's going to be a separate movie too. So that could be the third movie. That's a lot of caliber stars in all these movies.
It really is, yeah. That's.
But I also, what's great is Russell Crowe was saying that this Mummy movie is meant to scare the bejesus out of you.
Unlike the originals.
Where it's more of an adventure. This one is supposed to be scary, so I look forward to it.
More like a horror.
Yeah. So that's what I got there for some Universal pop for you. Now I want to talk about the big thing that happened this week. There was a Disney, they did their quarterly earnings call, and some things have been happening. So, again, remind me to talk about ABC after this, because I feel like this is a direct effect from that. But
yes.
The big announcement was they're discontinuing the Disney Infinity line.
Thanks, Shanghai. Oh, sorry, I didn't cut to myself then. Let me try it again. Thanks, Shanghai.
But you missed the eyes. You had to do the...
Wait, what?
You had the first time you cut, you were like,
Okay.
I should have just come in with that. But anyway, it's really disappointing, especially since last week we did the review of the Marvel Battleground set.
Incredibly disappointing, because I've literally got like...
You just got the Star Wars one, right?
I did, and I was playing it, and like the week up to it, I was getting into it. I'm very on board with Disney Infinity, and now they dropped that bombshell on me. So I am not a happy bunny.
And it's happening real soon. It's starting next month. The Infinity playsets are going to stop getting updates, so it's a bummer. They've got I guess at the end of this month of May, there's going to be 3 character like figurines released. I don't think it's a playset, but the announcement wasn't very clear. But they're supposedly Alice Through the Looking Glass characters. But I don't know if it's a place or not. I tried to find it in like Amazon or Target, somewhere to like pre-order it, but it's not coming up anywhere.
This is sorry, I zoned out just for a second. These are the actual Disney Infinity figures that are going to be released, right?
Yeah.
See,
they are still going to be released.
I also heard that there was going to be a Finding Dory one.
Yes, yeah. So the Finding Dory one is going to be a playset.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And that'll come out in June. And they've said they're still going to release the 2 of those. But again, I can't find a listing anywhere for them, so who knows? And it's upsetting that it's happening so suddenly too, because I thought Star Wars did good, but they're saying that the lack of sales is to blame apparently. But
well, it's not just, if I remember correctly, it's not just Disney Infinity. It's the whole.
It's in-house. Yeah, it's all in-house Disney games. However, that doesn't mean there aren't going to be Disney video games, because Disney has said that they're going to continue to license their properties to other video game publishers, but will no longer make their own game consoles.
It's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Avalanche Software, the studio that makes it, is being shut down, and apparently like 300 people are losing their jobs.
That's sad.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. And they even had like a Disney 4.0 like all planned out. So that...
Maybe they'll offer the people that have lost their jobs custodial positions in Shanghai, because there's so many people messing in the bushes.
Apparently, there's also a petition going around to get Disney to continue with the games, but it's not going to happen. No. I hate to break it to people, but petitions don't do anything for Disney. The only thing that does anything for Disney is money. So,
do you think they'll actually?
I don't want to be pessimistic, but what were you saying?
So I was gonna say, do you think they'll actually like sell the actual the licensing to make the figures so you could carry on, and like somebody else will buy the whole Disney
Oh, I don't know.
Infinity thing? 'Cause that's a
If somebody like
possibility.
out of house wants to take
Yeah.
over Disney Infinity,
And then just keep on doing Disney Infinity, because I'm sure they could actually sell that for a good chunk of change.
yeah. Well, the thing is, to shut it down, it's costing them $150 million. So they're taking a hit to shut it down. And and you're right. Like maybe somebody will step up who can streamline it. I mean, that would be great for me, because like I said, I've enjoyed it, and I had feedback from some people that were just. They've been very negative about Disney Infinity. I was very confused about it in the beginning. I wasn't sure like how you played it or what they did. So if you want to check out the Marvel Battlegrounds review video we did, that's on the Diz at youtube.com/wwinfo. You can find that overview video because it kind of lays out how the game, this particular playset works, but you'll kind of get a vibe for how they work in general. But it's I don't actually think it is too expensive. Like, sure, the playset, like the starter pack, is usually, I want to say, like full price. You're not getting it on sale for like $65, $70.
Yeah.
But I bought one for, and this again, why it sucks that it's ending, is I bought one for both my nephews. Each got a set for Christmas because they were on they were part of the Black Friday deal for $35 each, and I was like, well, that's pretty cheap. And I'm sorry, video games that come out nowadays, they start at $70 for one game.
They do.
This thing offered you the starter pack for that, but then when they came up with a new playset, it was only like $35. It was just pretty good, and for the amount of play I was getting out of it, especially the Star Wars ones, I was getting a lot of play out of it. So, and I don't understand. I thought the whole idea was these figures were supposed to bring in this flow of money, but whatever. Either way, it's happening. There's nothing we can do to change it.
I don't think we've seen the end of it, though. I think someone, if they put it up for sale, which they should do, someone's going to buy that. It's already got an established market. It does well. I don't think you've seen the end of it.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy too. So while we're on the topic of that quarterly earnings call, is they're saying like attendance was down, but spending was up, and all this whatever. You know, all those calls are always spun in such a way that no matter what they say, like, oh, this park burned down, but it's a positive thing. Like,
because we didn't have to pay a heating bill.
Yeah, right. There was always that twist on it. But so I didn't listen to the whole call, but ABC, it's a tough time on ABC. They are axing tons of stuff. They just canceled the Muppets last night, so no season 2 of the Muppets. I'm sorry to report. They canceled Nashville. Which I thought was doing okay. I thought that was a popular show, and they're doing a Nashville concert tour, so that's kind of weird to me.
Because I'm not aware of Nashville. I don't think it ever got broadcast in.
Hayden Panettiere, the girl from Heroes is on it.
Yeah, I know what it is, but I'm not I've never watched it. Like,
I haven't watched it either, but just because like country music really isn't my, which I think is what it's geared at. Is country music. But
I always like. I don't know. Wasn't that around for quite a long time?
I think this was the 4th or 5th season. So it's been on for a couple of years. But here's the other one, canceled. I knew the main character, the main girl on that show, and I do apologize. I don't have her name in front of me, and I'm not going to look it up right now. But it's like Static something is her name, or that might be her last name. But she wasn't coming back for the next season. Oh, and my phone started ringing. I apologize. That was actually my laptop. But those bill collectors, they'll never stop. I'll keep running. I swear to God, I'll keep running.
You should set up a Just Giving at the end of this episode and put a little link in the bottom for yourself. So if people want to stop hearing the ringtone, give to Rhino.
Just, I want you to film a In the Arms of the Angels, like a Sarah McLachlan me, just like with like my student loans and all that stuff, like bills around me, just weeping for $1 a day. No, that's terrible. Donate to people who actually need it. I can outrun these bill collectors forever. But so Nashville's ending, Castle's ending. I knew it was 2 of the main women on the show were not coming back, but some of the men, like obviously Nathan Fillion had signed for another season, and some other contracts being worked out. But apparently it's going to end, which is, it feels crazy to me because I don't feel like they were given any time. Obviously, because it's May right now. The finale's on in like a week or 2. You invested 8 years and it's just going to be cut. The same with Nashville, just cut. Muppets is another story. I know that was a freshman show, so that often happens, but that was cut. I mean, there was a lot of TV cuts last night. apparently CW is now officially like DC television because they've just inherited Supergirl from CBS. So now they have Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Flash. I know that's DC and not Marvel, but I enjoy Arrow, the Flash, and I'm currently watching Legends of Tomorrow. So I just thought I'd bring that up there. But some stuff's happening. It's a tough time.
Do you know what I'm happy about?
What?
The TV show I'm currently watching didn't get canned, and I thought it would, which is the real O'Neills.
Yeah, the real O'Neills got renewed. Goldberg's renewed. Modern Family. You know, those kind of constant performers are safe. Well, real O'Neills is new, so I was surprised by that. Yeah,
because I've read stuff online that it wasn't doing as well as they expected, but obviously someone thinks it's going to get big, and it should do. You should go and watch it. It's really good.
Well, I'll try. You know, because I'm a fan of, like I said, the middle, Modern Family, and the Goldbergs are my jam, and I love a good family comedy, especially like right now the Goldbergs and I'm sorry, it's all great. It's all great. The middle is hilarious. Somebody tried to tell me it wasn't funny last night. I almost pushed them in the
middle's great.
River.
It's just it reminds me so much of Malcolm in the Middle, though.
It reminds me of my childhood, and that's why I like it, because I'm pretty sure that Patricia Heaton is portraying my mother. But I'm gonna switch back into video games for a hot second right here. Because there was some other exciting stuff, some positive news. That Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been confirmed, and it's going to feature the newer films. The Battlefront 1 that came out this last holiday season, I think it was in the beginning of November, it sold 14 million copies and did significantly better than the developer had initially predicted. So that was good for them. But EA clarified that they're planning to release one new Star Wars title each year for the next 3 to 4 years. So that's cool. I just hope they start adding some story modes, because I think Battlefront looks amazing, but I'm not a big online game player, and I like to like go on a mission.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it kind of, they're doing this whole release thing that's going to kind of coincide with those films, which is kind of nice. So, but apparently Battlefront 2 is joining an already well-stocked slate of upcoming Star Wars titles, including an unnamed space action title from Visceral and Motive, along with a third-person action title from Respawn, the developers of the hit Titanfall franchise, which I hear good things about. But none of them have a name or a date, but they're in active development. So maybe I'll get my story mode out of there if I don't get it out of Battlefront. So I'll be happy. And on another video game note, if you haven't seen it, the Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer was released. The video game is coming out June 28th. You should check out the trailer, though. It's really funny, and it includes a lot of people reprising their voice for the game, including one Mr. Harrison Ford. And he does say Wookiee cookies at one point. So check that out. But speaking of Star Wars, exciting Star Wars news too. Star Wars Celebration 2017 is going to be held here in Orlando at the Orlando Convention Center.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's it. I know you don't care, but
no, I do. I enjoy the newer films.
But it's taking place from April 13th through the 16th, like I said, at the Orange County Convention Center. Tickets for the event, including 4-day, single day, and VIP, will go on sale Wednesday, May 25th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 3 o'clock Eastern time, our time here. And that's very exciting. This is a big deal because it's held in a different place every year. It was in California last year. It's in London this year. So it goes all around the world. But if you're planning a vacation to Orlando, it might be a really cool thing to kind of coincide with that.
Are you going to go?
Oh yeah, I would love to. I think Pete already said that he really wants to go, so
there you go.
That'd be fun.
You can get some content for the show.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind going as well. It does look it's Star Wars is something that's like new to me because I've really tried to pick it up from. That sounds awful.
No, it's fine.
I did media and everything, and
everybody
like Star
finds
Wars
it at a different time in their life, but people find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a film that, like the Force, it binds us. It brings us together. I'm not going to say the word penetrate because
you just did.
But anyway, another little fun little Star Wars fun thing. Tom Hardy's going to be having a cameo in Episode 8, similar to how Mr. James Bond, Daniel Craig, was the... You've seen the new film. He's the stormtrooper who's holding Rey. Like, she does the mind control on him.
Is he?
Yeah, rewatch it and listen to the voice, and you'll hear it. It's him. And his stormtrooper's name was JB-007.
That's clever. I like those little Easter eggs in films.
So I guess
I like that.
Tom Hardy's following in that, and he's doing that now. So that's fun.
Jumping on the old bandwagon.
Yeah. that's all I have for movie stuff, you know. And I'm just going to talk a little briefly about some comic book stuff. So there's some exciting stuff. Marvel just launched their Black Panther comic book. So I went out and I got issue 1. I haven't read it yet. Sometimes I like to wait for like 1 or 2 issues to come out. I've heard great things though. It's getting really positive reviews, and the sales are doing pretty good for it. But to kind of push that a little bit, Marvel's also doing a monthly Black Panther video series, and it's pretty interesting. So it's been a big year for Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman just made his appearance as him in the Civil War movie, and as you'll hear in the review, I loved it. For me, he's like one of the in a movie that's so crowded with so many people, they handled this new character introduction and Spider-Man so well. They did a great job. I want that costume so bad. I feel like that's going to be a future Halloween, or maybe, we'll see MegaCon. I don't know. I won't have it in time for MegaCon. I won't have the body in time for MegaCon. That is for sure. But anyway.
Never say never.
Never say never. Little Fievel for you, a little American Tale. But the Black Panther standalone film's coming out in 2018, February, and Ryan Coogler, who directed Creed and Fruitvale Station, he's directing and co-writing that film. So they've got some high caliber people working on this too. So it's exciting. It's a little breath of fresh air, a little different in the Marvel universe here. So the comic book, it like I said, being reviewed really well. So the video series. So it's kind of like this weird. It's almost like they're like not. I don't want to say completely spoilery because I watched it. But it does, like, if you're a purist and you want to know nothing and go into it, watch the video thing afterwards. But it's some of the people involved in it talk about it, and they do some of these like motion comics, so they animate the comic a little bit. But what's kind of cool is it's got commentary from Coates, who's the author. Again, names I'm terrible with, but Tanishi Coates? I don't know. Coitus, yeah. Yes, written by Coitus. But he does a little bit of commentary, and they, like I said, they animate the comic book, and it's all done to this hip hop score done by the group Run the Jewels. And you can check that out on Marvel's website. It's pretty interesting. But if you're somebody who like, kind of like, oh, I liked Black Panther in the movie, like, should I start reading the comic? Because that's why I went to get the comic, because I was like, well, I like him, but I know nothing about him. So they've just introduced this comic book, and this might be a nice way for you to, even if you don't get the comic, but familiarize yourself just a little bit. But it's the whole video series is designed, according to Marvel, to present the world of Black Panther to a whole new audience, timed with his cinematic debut in Marvel's Captain America: Civil War, and will offer fans a monthly recap of the best-selling comic book series. With the Black Panther capturing the hearts and minds of fans around the world, we're making an all-out press for their eyes and ears, said Marvel's editor-in-chief, Axel Alonso. So that's cool. It's pretty cool. And for those of you who are wondering, I did go to Free Comic Book Day, and I got my Civil War. I believe this is supposed to be Civil War like 0, which is like the introduction into the new comic book. So the Civil War 2 storyline, which I'm very excited. I believe that's going to hit in June, and I'll be talking about that on the show. So we'll dip into the nerd comic book
Maybe
stuff.
that will be a good one for me to start with.
Well, that's what I figured. That's what it is for me. And so yeah, you and I should get on that bandwagon, because I thought, well, it sounds like an interesting event. It's even got a little poster on the back. Whose side will you choose? You got Captain Marvel and Iron Man, and yeah, I don't know. I look forward to reading this, and maybe I haven't structured it out yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do like each time an issue comes out, do we talk about it, or do we wait to the end? But since they only do an issue a month, I feel like we should talk about it every month.
There's a few comic book things I want to get into. It's something that doesn't really excite me at the minute, but I know I'll definitely, now I know it exists, I'll start reading the Back to the Future stuff and the Buffy ones as well, because,
Well, what's great is, so Buffy. If you don't want to do the monthly basis, eventually they'll take a certain number of them, collect them together, and make a graphic novel out of them. So it'll be like issues 1 through 16 or this novel, and issues 17 through 32 or this novel. So like if you want to get into the Buffy ones, they've got like the season 8 storyline, and then the season 9 storyline. Like they're like in graphic novels, so you can get those like 4 and read all about that season. So they kind of do that with everything. So You might be. A lot of my friends do it like that. I like the cover. I'm all about like the aesthetic, the
Yeah.
art and stuff. So I kind of like that. However, it is a rabbit hole that you just will keep spiraling down.
I like the idea. I like that they do that and they deliver it to you in that way. But I quite like the idea of collecting each issue because
Yeah.
it feels like a set. Then,
Well, because here's the thing: once you read it, you can. What I'm going to do, like I got the Back to the Future ones. Speaking of those, which I actually have at the table with me here. Here's the newest issue. This is issue 7, but this was originally just supposed to be a 4-part series, and it did well, so they're continuing it. And this is the beginning of the continuing story. But issue 1 through 4 were like if you got all 4, they went in a row and made a long poster. And
That's
so I'm going to
awesome.
frame them in a long poster and put them up in my Back to the Future area in my loft.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to get on the Back to the Future.
Well, and
bandwagon.
some of it, you know how Marvel, the cinematic universe, it's not just cinematic, it's just shared universe. So like the shows are supposed to exist within that, the comic book, like, so stuff that happened. Well, I don't know that the comic books specifically are, they're just inspired by, but it's still kind of cool to get in there and like see these stories maybe ahead of time or.
Yeah.
But now if you're not a superhero person or if you're not a big, you don't know where to start, don't worry, because I've spoken to some people at the comic book store, and I think that we're going to go in, Oliver and I, and we're going to go through it with a person there, and they're going to kind of give you guys and myself, because I'm still very much a novice, but they're going to give us the run through of like maybe where to start. Like, so you've enjoyed the Marvel movies, like, okay, well then read these storylines, or this one's about to start, you should hop on here. Like the Civil War, I knew that was coming out, so that's why I was like, okay, I've got to hop in here.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. We're going to go in and we're going to explore that. But don't worry, it doesn't just have to be Marvel stuff. It can be whatever. Like, did you guys know about the Haunted Mansion comic book that has been coming out?
Look at that.
So this is issue 1. I've got issue 2. I think issue 3 is either about to come out. Yeah, it must be about to come out because I haven't gone back in a little bit. But I'm trying to get all these. I think I don't know if this is a limited run or it's ongoing, but I'm going to do the first 4 issues. I'm going to check this out, and I think maybe next week I'll maybe do a little review of this or something like that.
Did you get that from the comic book store, or was
I
that?
did, yeah.
Oh, did they sell them on Disney property?
I would assume so. It's part of the series Magic Kingdoms, so I don't know if they do. I feel like they do. They sell Marvel comic books somewhere, don't they? Maybe at Disney Springs.
Possibly.
We'll do some research and we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys know. Maybe in the Haunted Mansion gift shop, but yeah, I got those at the comic book store, Coliseum of Comics, near my house, which I really like. But yeah, so and you can go to a comic book store and you can subscribe. So they'll hold it at the store for you for no cost. It's free, and they'll just keep them there, and you can go as long as you're just going every now and then, and either telling them you do or don't want them. They're not committed to buy them. You can go in and say like, no, I don't want to do this one anymore, or I don't want this issue, or whatever. They don't care. They're just, their subscription base is to like help you. It helps them in the long run, but to help you make sure your stuff's there. My Power Ranger comic books are all there. But also, there's some other fun stuff that, like, we're going to explore the Disney comic side that's not Marvel, because Darkwing Duck has just started as a comic book. This is issue 1. I signed up for this. I had heard they were doing this. And there's been, like, Thunder Railroad comic books. There's been all these. There's a Figment comic book. Kathy Worland can get into that.
I'm very happy.
But there's all that stuff. You can go to your local comic book store. They'll give you one of these guys. It's a previews thing, and they gave me this for DC because apparently they're about to just reboot everything in the DC universe at the end of this month, and I'm gonna go and start at the beginning because I was like, oh well, you know what? I feel very overwhelmed by all the other storylines, but let me go and get in on the base level. Like, I'm curious to see what they'll do with like Superman or Batman. I don't really. Batman's never really my thing. Like, I like the movies, but I'm a Superman guy. Sorry, bro. And that's that. So we're gonna be getting into that more. I won't want people to just think this is just Marvel Star Wars show. And in fact, I will commit to you, like, next week we can talk about Darkwing Duck and the Haunted Mansion comic book. I'm gonna say that.
I'll make sure I read both of those so I can comment on them as well.
Yeah, for sure. Now, to kind of wrap up the show, too, I also want to say I'm going to start looking maybe as a weekly thing. So that was all like our news-ish segment, but I want this show to be strongly influenced by like lifestyle as well. And lifestyle is anything from food, home, furniture, whatever, all that stuff, wardrobe. And like I said, we'll be talking about Disney Bounding, Dapper Day, but there's a lot of events that people do to bring Disney into their lives differently, and or their fandoms to begin with, because I don't want this to be Disney centric, but Disney is our like hopping point. Yeah. And so I feel like the arts and crafts and drinks videos that I've been doing have been kind of like show you how you can bring home, that kind of stuff into your own life. And I just wanted to share one of the other things I do, and I touched on the Zootopia video, is I like to paint. Sometimes there's characters I really like you saw I did the Nick and Judy. I really liked that movie, so it stuck with me, and I just get an idea, and I'm like, I did the splatter paint. And I've also done this. Max from Goofy Movie is actually the first painting I ever did. That's not the first one. I redid it, though. I should have brought the first one and showed you a comparison, but
your artwork is really very good. I've seen quite a few that you've
thank
done,
you.
And I'm very impressed.
Well, I've done, I've had friends like ask me to do some stuff for them, but it started as I needed a hobby. Like I wasn't filming anything, I wasn't doing anything, and I was kind of losing my mind a little bit, and so I said, I was at a friend's house and I saw they had a painting, and it was of Brian from Family Guy at a bar. It's this sad, like him just sitting, this weird oil painting. And I was like, God, that is such a cool painting. But I was like, I wonder if I could do that, and not in a mean way, but in a way where I was like, I don't have any money. I can't buy that. And I was like, but maybe I can do something like that,
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was Brian first. I think it was all inspired by Max. I'd always had this idea that I love the song Stand Out from Goofy Movie. Like it's literally in my recently played list at all times on my iPhone. It's just I can't get enough of that song. And I always love Max as Powerline. And so I was like, man, it would be really cool if they did this like 90s like neon behind him stand out. And instead of asking about it, I was like, you know what? I could probably do that. I could probably like print the letters, cut them out, paste them on the canvas. I can do this stuff, because I was like, I want to see that. Like it's a little bit cheesy, but it's kind of an inspirational painting is what I was looking for. You know what I mean? Like look at this and be Max, because he got up in his auditorium and went for it. And even though he ended up being a filthy liar after that for most of the movie, but so that's kind of how I did it. I wanted to show you guys this one. I just hit myself in the head so hard. Jessica Rabbit. I did this one for a friend. Sorry, Kim. I did this for you. Oh my gosh. I did this one 4.5 years ago, because I dated the back. It says for Kim. I liked it so much I kept it.
It wasn't for Kim. This is for me.
I've made her some other ones, but thanks, Kim. Sure. Thanks for letting me keep your gift. But this was one, like, again, I tried something different with this. I actually used my fingers to do the shading on the dress. Like I don't want to say I finger painted everything, but I did on this one. So it's kind of like find your hobby, try something new. But I was terrible, and I'm not saying you'll be great. There's tips and tricks about cheating this. I'll have a conversation with anybody any day of the week about it. But that's kind of one of the things. Like it's not just Disney I do this with, because I've done it with. It's Disney because I have a cartoony kind of style I do, but I've done it with anything and everybody. I've made my friend's wedding. I had a picture of the two of them holding hands, and like I did him in a Green Lantern shirt and her with the music on her shirt, just because I was like, oh, this is them, this looks like them, and I want to do this for them. And it ends up being like, it means a lot to some people, whereas for you, it could just be a hobby,
Yeah.
So it can kind of go anywhere with it. But I would like to start seeing what you guys do to bring Disney into your everyday life. I've shown you this example of how I do it with this. And I think I'm going to do a call out for some fan art. I'd like to highlight some of you guys as local artists. I've seen some along the way. I follow someone on Tumblr that I recently spoke to about featuring it. And on Instagram, Jake is somebody that follows our Instagram, is always doing these sketches, and I think they're great. So if any of you guys do want to have any of your artwork featured, or you want to send something your way, it doesn't have to be Disney. It can be whatever. Like I'm a fan of all stuff, You've seen what our Universal show's about. You've seen or if you haven't, check it out. It can be Universal property related. It can be like, I love when people do Worlds Collide art, like when it's like hybrid stuff, what I mean?
Stuff that you wouldn't normally find, stuff that has to be created, like you wouldn't find the people that own it making it.
Right, and that's and those are great. Like I've seen a lot of stuff done with like Baymax as other things, but so I want to see people start tagging us on our Instagram, which we just started a new Instagram. Oliver, what is that Instagram?
It is. It's the Diz Unplugged Instagram, which I believe is just Diz Unplugged. But let me check.
Oh, okay, great. I thought since you had set it up, I assumed that it was you
not
who
me.
had...
Yeah, it's just Diz
I thought I got a
Unplugged on
notification
Instagram.
from it on my phone, and it turns out it was not that. So I was like, oh, maybe it'll say right here. But
Yeah, it
but
just says
we
Diz
have two
Unplugged.
Instagrams. We have the.diz, and then we have
Diz Unplugged.
Diz Unplugged.
Which is
So
just Diz Unplugged.
feel free to like tag us in that. I personally, Rhino, you can tag me in my Instagram. Feel free, check it out. Let's
is
be
your
friends,
Instagram?
guys. It's Rhino1185, RYNO1185, and that's me on all social media.
Add him as a friend.
I have a Facebook.
On Instagram.
Yeah, I was like, I have a,
On
I have a,
Instagram.
I have a Facebook, for lack of a better word, fan page. That if you guys want to come on in there, post it on my page. I want to see this stuff.
Yeah, and make sure it is the fan page because Rhino and I were in the same boat with that. We our fan pages is where people need to contact us.
It's
through
nothing
Facebook.
against you guys because I have made some great friends through this outlet. It's just I have like my mother, like people that don't get. It's just easier to do it this way and then to go through my personal page because everyone is like crazy about. I have a lot of paranoid people in my life, and I'm not one of those people because I've got a Tumblr, I've got a Twitter, I've got an Instagram. Those are all public forms of communicating with the world. So let's communicate. Let's be friends. Show me. So I want to start featuring once a week somebody out there. I want to show your art. If you want to mail it to me, like if you want to hand draw it and mail it on a piece of paper, go on disunplug.com and we have a mailing address. Hard copy. I promise I will do something great with that too. I'm not asking you to give it to me, but if you just want to like tag us in some cool posts, like just do it. Who knows? I might feature you. I might not. I might.
Saying
whatever,
that, if Ryan said we're not asking you to give it to us, we're not going to mail it back though.
Oh yeah, I should say that.
Just,
yeah, sorry.
Just to put that out there. So.
Yeah, but be cool. So it's Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel. I said Marvel twice. Like
that's how much you want
Darkwing, ABC, like cartoons, like Chip and Dale. Like be creative. I just that's where we're gonna start.
Yeah.
I want to every week start featuring that fan art. Fan Art Friday. I guess we're a Friday show.
As long as it's appropriate, you can send it to us. And even if it's not, send it to us because we'll probably still enjoy it. It just won't make it onto the show.
Exactly. We'll just start working on those blur marks right now. Like that episode of The Office where they have the reams of paper that have the Mickey and Donald going at it. But that's that. Yeah, I'm sorry. This probably went on a little bit longer than it had to. I was just really excited I just want to let you, the listener, and you, the viewer, know that I am very interested in creating relationships with you guys. And that's what this show, for me, the core of this show is about how we, the oddballs, bring our favorite fandoms into our everyday lives. And so let's get it going. Like it shouldn't just be me showing what I do. I want to show what you do.
Even if we've said a lot about how to get in touch with us, just comment on the YouTube video at the bottom because I know both Rhino and I, we are very
obsessively check them.
We're very interactive as well. We're using our own accounts.
People use the word vain, but I don't think that's what's the word that we want to look? Insecurity. So
no, I don't know. I know what you're saying. There's no word that describes.
It's just you're going back. It's like when I paint. I just keep having to like fix the little line, and then I mess up everything, and then life is ruined. So, but that's it. I think that's going to do it for this week. Like I said, next week we'll talk a little bit more. I promise I'll start pushing us out into we're going into the waters, guys. We'll start doing a little do a little comic book review, and I think Oliver and I actually coming up in 2 weeks from today. MegaCon is taking place in Orlando, Florida, from Thursday through Sunday, and I believe that we are going to attempt to do this. What do you think?
Yes. Am I right in thinking that we are going to?
We're going to come up with something. I don't know what it is yet, but we will. I promise you that we will. I'm not going to guarantee Lycra, as he whispers it, but we will try and be very creative with what we do. I was doing a little Michael Caine there for a second. So we're gonna see what trouble we can get into over there.
It's gonna be PG-13. There'll be skin involved.
Oh, I hope so. Chicken skin. from fried chicken. Oh, I'm the worst. I am the worst. It is Friday the 13th. I apologize for all that. What's it with my hands, too? I love to do this with my face. Like, I need a Many Faces of Rhino t-shirt, and then I need to burn it.
That's what someone's going to do. Someone should do an artwork, like a rhino, like with the see no evil.
You know what I really want? I've always wanted, and this is such a terrible place to say it, but I want a rhino. I want a rhino of me. Like, I want it to be a rhino who's like kind of beefy, and he has a fun t-shirt on, and he's got like, he's got to have cool hair, but I want it to be like, what's that word when they're like people?
Do you know what you've just reminded me of? Okay, so just a quick background. Rhino and I watch the same TV show. Yeah, Superstore. Yeah. Mateo in Superstore when he's like the dolphin.
Oh, God. Yeah, when he's making the presentation.
Strong as a lion.
Smart as a dolphin. And this is just me as a bunny, because I thought it was cute.
Hardworking as a worker.
Yeah. So I want, if somebody wants to design that out there, Godspeed to you. But that's in my head. I don't have it all worked out, but I just want a cute little like rhino. Oliver, what would you be though?
If I could be an animal?
Well, I don't know. Like if you were represented. Words are eluding me right now.
You can make me into a unicorn.
A unicorn? Mm-hmm. Well, unicorns are just chubby rhinos. I'm sorry, rhinos are just chubby unicorns. I said that backwards.
Is that a unicorn? No, it's a horse with a spike in its head.
Is our like Diz Pop show going to be like, here comes Oliver's unicorn, and then here comes this fat unicorn that can't quite make the jump and just flops down in the middle? That's how I'm going to animate the opening when I finally finish it. Yeah,
there's going to be sparkles and rainbows and unicorons and
oh god, I hope that there is something out there that comes back to us. But I'm sorry, we have droned on now for too long. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next week. Check out all the shows we've done, the other Diz Pop shows. Comment on the YouTube videos. Give us feedback of the reviews on iTunes. Let me know what you guys want to see. I want to do whatever, because this is a no. We're at no limits here. This I know people have called this the no format show. Like I have somewhat of a format, but it doesn't need like. There's no walls here. Also, it can be broken down. We can go anywhere. We can go do anything. Everybody keep your minds in the right place. And I want to deliver. I want this to be something very different. So
yeah. What I would say as well is there's a lot of people out there that watches because of the Diz audience. This show is slightly different. So a lot of people know these people in their lives. Show them the show. Introduce it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, if you've got other people that you think are going to enjoy it, that necessarily maybe they're not the biggest Disney fans, but I feel like we're not talking about Disney too much. We're talking about that. Like I like Disney, but it's like it's not for me. It's not all encompassing. Although I do work at this podcast now, so maybe it has become all encompassing. But that's a great point, Oliver. Share it with your friends. Give us feedback. Send us the email. You can send us emails at podcast@DizUnplugged.com.
Yep.
Reach out to us on Twitter at DizPopShow. There's our, like I said, our Instagram is the.diz or Diz Unplugged.
Or and your own personal one.
Our Facebook, we have, like us on Facebook. We have those Facebook pages. We have our personal pages. And yeah. I think that's it. So again,
hit the like button on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Give us a thumbs up. You can give us the thumbs down. I will cry, but it's cool. I feel like I need that constructive feedback to get us going in the right place. But that'll do it for this week, guys. I will see you. I will never see you. I don't know why I always say see you. We will be with you.
One day
emotionally, in our hearts, in our minds. Holding our hands. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, we're going to all be together again next week, I hope. Although if at this rate, I'm cutting the audience by half every week. So we'll see. Some of you, we'll be back next week with some of you guys for another episode of Diz Pop.